Amrabat permanent contract is really one of those things that United are really looking at, and they want to look at it before the end of the season. It has been brought to us by Anchorman 616, who works with the Athletic, and you know how credible the Athletic is in this game that we play. As fans and players like Amrabat play it as people featuring in for Man United. Welcome to United Matters channel. How are you guys? And where are you watching us from? Wan Bissaka return date. Looks like we're gonna hate to know what his return date is gonna be after those months that I've seen him be out for some long time. And Facundo looks ready to take on the next step at Man United, and he's ready for what Erik ten Hag is planning for him. So smash the like button, comment and share. If you're totally watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on the stories that we do upload in here on a daily. As Rock and David is my name, and hope you guys are really doing the needful. Have a much have come late to live stream, but never say never. We keep really doing the job that most of you really appreciate us for. So we thank God for the gift of life, the Muslims, Juma Karim, because it's really a Friday in my country, and we are obviously getting to that day, and I know you guys are obviously going to go and really talk to Allah. Then, sorry about that. Sorry about that. Then, for the Christians, Barakallahu fikum, and we will believe that the Lord God is going to do us lots of things. Now, there is a story coming in from a reporter of the Athletic known as Carl Anke. Man United are expected to look at a permanent deal for Sofiane Amrabat before the end of the season. Now, this is like slow sports news for me, because we all know that as Amrabat was crossing from Fiorentina to come to Manchester United on a loan deal, there was a clause, right, that if United don't sign Amrabat, I think before 20th May, a clause will automatically be will automatically be put back into action or into operation, that he has now gone ahead to sign one more year with Fiorentina. And that's what Fiorentina really did for the club of Man United, because Man United, because of the financial problems they had, they couldn't sign Sofiane Amrabat. Guess what happened? They found themselves wanting Amrabat, and all what they had to do was go out, sign him on loan for 10 million euros. After signing him on loan for 10 million euros, go ahead and really get him there, and you sign him later. Remember, Erik ten Hag wanted to sign Amrabat on a permanent deal, and the money couldn't really help him do that. So that's why we saw to it that it never really went on as planned by Erik ten Hag, but he got him on a loan, and there is an option to buy that is not mandatory. So it shows you that United played it wise, because if you include a mandatory buy clause, that means you've gone ahead to consider a permanent deal, that will happen later. And one thing you have to think about, the financial fair play role. Even Arsenal did it on David Raya. They wanted to sign David Raya on a permanent, but they were going to violate their financial fair play rule. So what they did was simple. They put in a buy clause that was not mandatory. When it's mandatory, it's obvious like you are going to pay that amount of money, so it's included or calculated in that financial year, something that Man United never wanted to face at any point. So that is it about Sofiane Amrabat. But when you look at his performances, Amrabat has gone ahead to obviously perform very, very, very well. Making his debut against Burnley, then he played in the midweek against Crystal Palace, then again on the weekend against Crystal Palace, played against Galatasaray, then Brentford. After Brentford, it was I think after Brentford went in the international break, then he returned, played against Copenhagen, played against Sheffield. He played, I think, 90 minutes there. And obviously, the club is really loving him. I think it's really a matter of time for the club of Man United to obviously sign the player, because he has shown us the attributes he brings to the club of Man United. I've seen the likes of scores coming out and not obviously giving him the hells he deserves. And I pity people who go on to really judge a player or gauge a player after playing just six matches in the shirt of Man United. That is really unprofessional. How can you judge a player in 6 games? You know, that's why for Andre Onana, I'm always going to hate to let you know that he should obviously be given time. And he saw to it that he saved a penalty that was really very much important. And you now know how important that game was against Copenhagen. Because to me, even if we lose against Man City on Sunday, that would obviously come here and really make me really feel bad about it, because at least we went ahead to get an important win against Copenhagen, because you can easily catch up on City. So, but for Copenhagen, it was just one chance, get 3 points, because if at all we drew, would have gone ahead to need to win all remaining games, which would have gone ahead to come in with a lot of pressure. But after collecting the first 3 points in the first 3 games we're going to have to play, you can go to Copenhagen with a lot of confidence, with no pressure, play our game and wait for a moment to come. We capitalize onto that, walk back to Old Trafford with 6 points. Then we go to Galatasaray. Going to Galatasaray, we get 3 points, and you wait for Bayern Munich to really get our draw. And by the way, if at all we win our next 2 games, by the time we play Bayern Munich, we will be already through. I've already gone ahead to give you the permutations that Galatasaray is going to lose its other game against Bayern Munich. If they lose against us, even if they win against Copenhagen, they'll be having 7 points. You get? So for for Copenhagen, if we beat them at their stadium and they lose to Galatasaray, or even if they beat Galatasaray, they'll be having 4 points. But remember, they're supposed to play Bayern Munich. Even if they beat Bayern Munich, they'll be having 7 points, meaning that it's a matter of us winning our next 2 games to qualify for the next for the next stage of the Champions League. That is the round of 16. So that takes us to a different attribute altogether on Sofyan Amrabat, on why we need him to stay. The intensity, his energy, the physicality, he brings a lot to the team of Man United. And he has not yet gone ahead to meet his levels, but you see to it that he's really doing the right thing and he's a perfect fit into the team. I really carry him in the same gauge like, what's the name of the guy? Like Rasmus Højlund. He never did a preseason with Man United, and these games he's going to have to play, he's doing a preseason with Man United. And we need to wait for him until he plays his games, such that until he plays games until the end of November, and see how he'll get in that team in December. Because United played 8 games into the preseason, and has Amrabat even played 8 games for Man United? Let me check and see. Amrabat stats. He has gone ahead to play 2 Premier League games for 4 Premier League games for Man United, 1 game in the EFL Cup, and 2 matches in the Champions League. Those are 7 games. But remember, he is really trying to get there where it deserves to be. And we should just give him a benefit of doubt, because we all know how good this player is and how he's going to take us to the club of Man United. So I believe, I'm having Owini Emma asking me the WhatsApp. Obviously, let me drop the link. Let me drop you the link such that you join us up. Let me drop you the link. So if at all you're watching this channel right now and you've not gone ahead to really get into our WhatsApp group, let me have it dropped here, because I need you guys to obviously come in the WhatsApp group, because we need to further our conversation there. So that's the link. If at all you want to join us in the WhatsApp group, so follow that link and join us there. then the conversation will continue to flow. You will find other members and viewers of this channel there. See to it that you obviously try to meet, understand, and obviously let's build this African Man United fan base by doing so. Now, I was talking about Amrabat as he never had a preseason with Man United, So that confirms to us that when he becomes good, he's obviously going to be good. Though we are going to miss out on him from the 13th or from the 7th of June, from the 7th of January to the 11th of February, as he's going to be representing for his country in the African Cup of Nations. That is Sofiane Amrabat. So he's going to be away for that time, and we promise that he's going to return when he's really okay. And we look at his team, that is Morocco. It's a strong side that is obviously going to really put in a lot of effort, even playing the final. Having reached the semi-finals of the World Cup last year, everyone looks at Morocco as favorites to lift this title. And for the very first time, we are going to be having a huge exodus of players leaving Man United, going to play into the African Cup of Nations. I talked about Andre Onana for Cameroon, Sofiane Amrabat for Morocco, there is Hannibal for Tunisia, and Amad Diallo for the team of Ivory Coast. So that is it for Sofiane Amrabat, and the rest of the players are going to leave us into that side. But in that space, we might play 8 games only, and I think players are going to get a little bit of rest, right? Like 2 weeks of rest, and then they will obviously get back. But the beauty of all that period is, will be the January transfer window. If at all there will be any space for us to fill, we can easily fill it by signing in a player or welcoming back the players that are really injured. And we all know that even the last player to return from injury is going to be Lisandro Martinez, and it's expected that around January he will be back. So by the time Amrabat leaves, Luke Shaw will be back, Bissaka will be back. We're going to talk about Wan Bissaka next. Then Lisandro Martinez will be back. Amad Diallo will be back. So we are obviously going to be having one of the better squads in the world. And trust me, one of the things I read today that I'm going to hate to obviously tell people on this channel lots of times is how we've gone ahead to lose our identity as Man United that Erik ten Hag was planning to build with his club this season, because Lisandro Martinez is the best, to me, technically gifted player when it comes to playing that ball under pressure. You press him on your own risk, because you'll obviously turn your ribs and really stay in control of the ball. With him being away, it really affects the club of Man United, and our builder play from our box obviously is affected. So I think when a full fit squad is here, even Amrabat will become a better player. Imagine being dropped into that team of Man United and it's playing like that, struggling, and you are just new and a lot of work is upon you to do. So in the game of City, anticipate that's going to be played alongside Casemiro, and in the morning, it's obviously going to be the match preview. It's the first video that's obviously going to premiere onto this channel, so endeavor to keep your notification bells on, not to miss out on that. But Amrabat, United is really working to see to it that they look through the permanent deal for Sofiane Amrabat and make it permanent very, very soon. I think they're going to make it permanent because he's obviously performing well and he's just a novice here. I think with time, he's obviously going to turn into one of the most influential players at the club of Manchester United. We go to Wan Bissaka. Big news for all United fans all over the world. And you should smash the like button close to 30 times because of this. Because we've been told by Sami Mokbel, he's a chief football reporter for the Daily Mail, that Wan Bissaka has now resumed training on the grass at the club's training headquarters and is closing in on a return to availability. There is hope he could be available within the next 10 days should the final stages of his rehabilitation goes according to plan. Good news. I have to clap for this. You know, for any team to thrive in all what they want to do, one thing you need to note is that you need to be having two players per position that obviously compete for it and take you to the levels you deserve to be. And that is what we are missing on the right back of Man United. Dallo is putting in beautiful performances, but I want Wan Bissaka to come back, because when he comes back, that piles more pressure onto Diego Dallo, and we want to see them competing at the levels of the ceiling, of the wavelength of their talents. That is it. We all admit that Dallo is really a very good player, talented, more talented than Bissaka. But Bissaka, in his limited talent, he's obviously turning out to be one of the best players on the field of play for the club of Man United. And if they're saying 10 days from now, you just have to look at them and ask yourself, and count, how are those 10 days going to come to pass? And let's count them. Today is 27th, 28th, 29th, 30th, 31st. So 31st will be 5 days, right? Then that means on the 5th, of 5th of November, Bissaka might be back for the club of Man United. And that means as we go away to play against Copenhagen, because we are playing Copenhagen. Let me see. We are playing Copenhagen on the 8th. He'll be available, and we are playing Fulham on the 4th. I don't know whether Erik ten Hag will obviously have him back on the 4th as we play Fulham away from home, but that makes him available for the game of Copenhagen away from home on the 8th. And that obviously strengthens us better and better and better. And if he's available for the game of Fulham, then he can come in through and obviously play in some minutes, and the manager will obviously take him on to see to it that he really finds himself fit to play for the club of Man United. But him as a player, I think he's struggling to make it to the English national team, but a precedent has been set by one of the players that has been snubbed very many times by the English national manager, that is Gareth Southgate, into the international team or in the national team of England. That is Eddie Nketiah. Eddie Nketiah finally got his debut for the country of England, and they're playing against Australia, and he came on through and really played some 23 minutes into that game. So if you're Wan Bissaka and you're looking to go on and play for DRC, that is Congo in Africa, I think it's better you stayed a little bit at Man United and kept yourself fit, because the way you are performing, you are not far away off from obviously getting a call from Gareth Southgate, the national team of England, because you're worth it. You've gone ahead to work for it. And with the way Wan Bissaka is improving his forward play, there is no way you can rule him out when it comes to what we call the England national team call-up. So he just needs to double his efforts, puts in a lot of effort to see to it that this goes on to as to plan. But his return in 10 days has gone ahead to excite me, because I was so much worried about Dallo. You cannot really get a player and make him play all those games. If you want to keep these players fit, you need to balance up. If one plays 90 minutes in the league, we're in the Champions League, start Wan Bissaka, let him play 60, then Dallo comes in through. Then in the other game you're going to play in the league, get in Wan Bissaka to start and keep rotating them like that. Because if you do that, then the players will obviously thrive, and they will obviously get their bodies not fatigue. But if you keep them playing 90 minutes like you see Dallo, ever since Wan Bissaka got the injury, he has been really playing 90 minutes. That is Diego Dallo. So I don't see it happening that way. I just want to see him back and see to it that they fight for those positions, and we want to see those players really fighting for the club. Lastly, Facundo Pelestri. Facundo Pelestri, he has said, here there is a lot of rotation. You can play one match as a starter and four as a substitute. There is something I learned. You always have to be ready because with so much competitions, you'll always have moments to play. We have very many people who believe that keeping a player at Man United and not playing him is really bad. But for Erik ten Hag, looks like he wanted to obviously get some time with sorry about that, with Facundo Pelestri, see to it that Facundo gets into the know of the team and giving him the best that deserves as a manager. You get? So, to my understanding, it comes out that he has been sat down by Erik ten Hag, and ten Hag has gone ahead to explain to him what it means to really fight for position at Man United. Facundo Pelestri, very good player. When he goes to the national team, he plays very well. He goes past players easily. And that's one of the attributes he really has as a player. And with most of us really knowing his potential, that means also Ten Hag knows the potential of Facundo Pelestri. And no one can really distance himself from the potential of Facundo. So it's just a matter of time to really see to it that Facundo really becomes big and better in the next months to come, and see whether he features in the next game we're going to play in the fourth round of the Carabao Cup against Newcastle at Old Trafford. I believe that Ten Hag, if at all is just, he needs to give him those minutes. He needs those minutes in his legs to see to it that Facundo plays very well, because there are very many teams interested in signing him on loan in the Eredivisie, Italy, Spanish La Liga, France, the Premier League, even in South America and Brazil. Teams are really wanting to sign the player, but Ten Hag told him, you are going to stay here. The good thing is that they are really looking into his contract to see to it that it gets signed and extended. Then Facundo will be given a very good go. But the moment he's going to have to come in through and played for United, he really played very well. He talks about how Erik ten Hag gave him a game against Bayern Munich, and he really played very well. For me, I like his energy and the way he tracks back. That's what attracts me about him. And the other important bit of him is the way he obviously gets into the final third of the opponent. You know, with a low center of gravity, he has a very good skill set and is a very, very, very fast player. That is Facundo Pelestri. And he's really one of those players that you would love to watch. Him and Garnacho keep us a lot on the edges of our seats because we know what they bring onto the field of play. So this takes us to Amad Diallo, another one who is really gonna really give us a lot onto the field of play to excite us. And I think if you really want a player who is going to expose everything concerning Erik ten Hag and Anthony, you need to have Amad Diallo. Amad Diallo will obviously have to make it to the bench of Man United, and he'll start some games and play some off the bench. And Erik ten Hag needs to obviously get us to where we deserve to be. So, guys, thank you very much for watching through. Tell me your thoughts about Amrabat permanent contract coming in through. What do you make about it? Then we have something else concerning Facundo Pelestri. He's ready. Do you think he should be starting more games than he is this season? And lastly, what do you make about Wan Bissaka returning in 10 days? So, may the living to God bless you abundantly. Rokan David remains my name. The Muslims Barakallahu Fikum. A sign out. See you tomorrow morning. But remember, there is a press conference of Erik ten Hag, and its office is going to be official. It's going to be broadcasted, and then we are going to come here and tell you the reactions. Kailifi Dauda, thank you for watching. Three of coming late, and you're obviously coming to the end of this video. I'm out. See you later, and bye-bye.